Hello guys and welcome to another trading week. Now hope you had a wonderful trading. Last week this was what we shared with you. We told you guys to expect a drop and then a buy. Now as you can see, price did indeed drop and then dropped a bit lower to around the 76 level, and then it began to give us that 76% level and then began to give us a push upwards. Now in this new week, what am I going to be looking out for? Now let's remove all of this first. So we're going to be doing a top-down analysis for you guys. I'm going to be starting from the monthly time frame. Now looking at the monthly, we see that gold is still pointing to the downside, even though we're seeing some push upwards, all right, from 4,000. But gold is still bearish at the moment. I don't think the bias has resumed, and I think, like we've always been saying, gold is still most likely going to drop even lower, down to around 3,000, 3,500 level thereabout, all right, or even 3,000, right? Let's go to the weekly. Now we can see on the weekly, gold is bearish, right? Because we're seeing lower lows and lower highs, all right. So in this weekly chart, we can see on this new week that we're in, that we're stepping into, what can we then look out for? We're going to mark out certain levels for you guys, all right. So the first level we're going to mark out is the 50% level for this week, even though I really won't want to mark that because it's looking quite tight. Price is already somewhere around that zone, but let's just mark it. So we've marked out the 50% weekly fib right there, and the next level we're going to mark out is the WR level. So we've marked out the WR level, marked out the WR1 and then WR2, right? So we're going to go to the daily to see what the daily is now looking like. So right now, majorly, gold is still on the weekly. We said gold is bearish, but on the daily now we're seeing something different. Gold is looking bullish, right? We're seeing higher highs now, and a possible higher low right here. All right. So what are we going to be doing now? It's quite, we're having a conflict, conflicting distant data, right? Since we're seeing a week bearish on the weekly and we're seeing on the daily, it's pointing to the upside, so one has to be quite careful. So right now we're going to be seeing two opportunities. We're going to be seeing an opportunity for a possible buy, but you need to be very careful on the buy, saying that gold is generally bearish, and then also a possible sell-off, right? So on the daily, what do we have here? We have marked this WR, the WR1 and WR2, and we see the 50% weekly fib right there. Okay, so it's that simple. Let's go to the 4-hour because the daily there's not much there to say. See the 4-hour. All right, good. So we see things clearer now on the 4-hour. All right, let's adjust this to this point, and let's adjust this to this point. So this is what we have now on the 4-hour, which is looking quite good. So what can we expect? We can expect price to give us a bounce of 4 buys somewhere around here. Now if you go to the 1 hour, I think we'll see things clearer there. Let's go to the 1 hour so we can mark some levels, then we'll come back to the 4 hour. Alright, so on the 1 hour we can see some sort of a heads and shoulders, inverse heads and shoulders right here. Mark that out. So let's go back to the 4 hour. So looking at the 4 hour, we've marked the heads and shoulders pattern right there. So we could expect price to come into that zone and then give us a bounce from there upwards. All right, but there's another level I think we're going to look at, right? So price could bounce up into this zone. Now what price does into that zone, when it gets into that zone, is what we don't know, whether price is now finally going to drop from that zone or we're going to see a continued push up. Because if you remember, we have this level right here that we've marked, which is the 50% monthly fib, right? And I've been expecting price to get into that zone to give us our sell-off from that zone. So it's possible that we might see price continue to push up into that zone to give us the sell-off. All right, another thing we could also mark out here is this. So we could see there's a possibility for price to come a bit lower to give us that push upwards. All right, so you can see that. So if this level doesn't hold, we might see price come down a bit lower to give us a push up and probably even take liquidity from here on the 1 hour time frame and then push up from that zone, right? But we could look for buys from this entire level right there. We could look for buys from that entire level, like we've been saying. But then when price gets up into these other levels, right, we could then start looking for selling opportunities. All right, so when price gets there, we could sell off from here, right, back down, or price could decide to break higher into this zone we have right there to give us the drop off that we might need, we've been looking for, right? So this is just what I'm going to be looking out for. So like I said, we have both buying scenarios and selling scenarios. So it's just for price to get into your zones, and then you now know what you're going to be looking out for. So majorly, I think I'm going to be looking for buys from this entire zone right here. If I see good opportunities and good confirmations, I'll go in for my buys. And then when price gets into this level, especially this level right here, 4174, I'll start looking to see if I'll see an opportunity for sell-off. If I don't see that opportunity, then probably price will break higher and push higher into 4,260 level. All right, so that's what we're going to be looking out for, guys. Do hope you have a wonderful trading week.